Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to feature yet another Spinnaker. They have been a little bit prolific lately with the new watches that they are putting out, but this one is particularly exciting to me because this is another first from them, and we'll get straight into it. So this is the typical blue box that they have been sending out. So without further ado, let's just show you the watch. And yep, take a look at that. Look at that bracelet. It is a metal bracelet watch, and it is the first ever, to my knowledge, and definitely to my possession, that I've seen from Spinnaker that has this. So again, inside, they don't tend to send a manual these days, which I don't mind. You know, you don't need a manual to operate this watch. Simple tag, and those are the spare links that I've removed, and a microfiber cleaning cloth there. So away you go, a little box there. And let's just show you the watch. So guys, this is the Spinnaker Croft new extension. They've called it a new extension. I guess it means that it's a few new models that they've added to the range. I reviewed a Croft model quite a while back with leather strap. This is essentially exactly the same type of case shape. So the model here is SP-5058, and this is number 22 for this black dial watch. They do have a number 11 for a green dial watch with the metal bracelet there. Okay, so they're going into the movement here, guys. The movement is the Miyota 8218. I'm not going to read out all the specs, just going to put it on the left here for you to see. Now, the rated accuracy, as you can see there, -20, +40. This one, I have to say, is actually not regulated very well out of the box. It came in and it was running about -35 seconds a day, and that's outside the rated accuracy of this movement. But you know, I'll show you some shots here from my time graph. I was able to open the case because I couldn't stand how slow it was, and I regulated it, and I'm getting it to about +6 a day, which is a lot better, you know, much more tolerable, much more to my liking. Okay, moving on to the case then. 43mm 316L steel. The thickness is 15 millimeters, and the lug width is 22 millimeters there, with a lug to lug distance there between my thumbs of 51 millimeters. Overall weight much heavier than all the other Spinnakers that I've ever featured because of metal bracelet. It's 177 grams adjusted. Of course, if you put in all the other links for a bigger wrist, it's going to be heavier than that. Right, moving on to the finishing then. Right, just let you see the finishing. It's longitudinal brushing on the top, right, as well as the sides. You can see the Spinnaker kind of name on that side, but in longitudinal brushing on the sides there, and it's, as usual, they've done pretty well. They've got that polished bevel, which they do tend to feature on a lot of their models, and I think that's finished to a pretty reasonable degree. You know, it's pretty well done. Again, with the cases from Spinnaker, and then I'll let you see the case back there. You can see it's actually polished on the case back. It's got a radial brushing on the actual screw-on case back, but the actual undersurfaces of the lugs there is actually polished. Okay, so with that screw-in display case back with the etched crown, you can see there the typical Spinnaker logo etching. Overall, this watch is rated at 150 meters in terms of the water rating of this watch here. Moving on to the dial then, I'll let you see into a zoom in here. Right, this one is kind of this matte black, but it's got texture to it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to translate this in this lighting, but there's a texture and there's a kind of a fume type of finish, meaning the edges are slightly burnt with slight lightness in the middle there, so that fume style dial, same as the previous Croft, really it's the same type of theme, right? The markers are all applied all the way around. It's got those you know, fairly simple baton hands, but it's segmented baton hands. You can see, right, the hour hand is segmented into 2, and the minute hand is actually segmented into 3 parts where the loom application is. And this loom application has got a bit of its own patina there. So it's a superluminova, but they haven't stated exactly which superluminova it is. And of course, I'll put a loom shot here for you guys to appreciate how it actually looks like glowing in the dark. Okay, and then looking at the other details here. So you've got that small second dial. So that second does have a loom hand on it. It's got a concentric texture. Again, that's going to be quite difficult for me to show you, but there's a kind of a circular concentric texture on that kind of small seconds sub-dial there. Okay, so those are the dial details here. So moving on to the bezel here. The bezel is 120 click. Okay, 10 clicks there. 120 click unidirectional bezel, of course. Not too bad. There's actually slight play there, and that tends to be the par for the course for Spinnaker. Not the most superior detents, but you know, it's actually not too bad. And the insert they've stated is aluminium, and it's got a matte finish with kind of this very light printing on the words there, on the numerals there, which makes it very highly visible. Actually, I don't mind how they finished it. In fact, at first I looked at this, I thought, is this a ceramic insert? But no, it's actually just a metal insert that they've stated. Okay, and the crystal on top of that, moving on to the crystal, is actually sapphire. It's a flat top sapphire. It's got a Cyclops date there, and just to show you the date, it's actually white writing on a black dial. That's what that date is, right? You can see there, 15. So Cyclops magnifier there, and this sapphire crystal, another thing I'll mention is that it does have kind of that curved step on the side there, which is pretty nice. You know, I quite like how they've done that with the glass there. It's not just a simple dome, it's not just simple flat, it's got a curved side that actually sticks above the bezel there. So that's a nice little touch, you know, one feature that I do appreciate, that detail there. All right, moving on to the bracelet then. This bracelet, which, you know, again, first ever from Spinnaker. Now, this one is nothing to write home about in terms of the actual quality of the bracelet. It is just brushed steel solid links, right? And it does have solid end links there, but you know, nothing more than I expect. It's actually got push pins, right? You won't expect anything more than that, I think, at this price range. And then the clasp, pretty solid pieces there, but you know, I think overall this is just an OEM factory clasp, right, with Spinnaker there. You've seen this before, no doubt, right? Push button with a keeper here. If you have any doubts, let me just grab another watch here. So this is my orange monster with the strap code Super Engineer here, right? Take a look at that. Any doubt that this is an OEM factory clasp and not anything more special than that? It is pretty much exactly the same clasp there, and you've seen this in other watches as well that I have featured. Okay, so that's really the description of the watch. Now, just to mention the pricing here, this is priced at 400 USD on the MSRP. The Croft without the metal bracelet is actually 320 with the usual leather strap, or discount codes that I can find in the links below, of course. So check out those if you wish to consider purchasing this watch. Now let's just put it on the wrist for a quick shot, and you know, with metal bracelets you can do it so quickly. And there we have it, the Spinnaker Croft new extension on my 17 centimeter wrist. So just remember, it is 43 millimeter diameter with a 51 millimeter lug to lug distance there, right? So that's how it looks like. A large watch, but I think overall how it sits on me is actually okay, particularly in more casual situations. Alright guys, so that's the watch description. Now, what have I liked about this? Now, overall, I think, look, it's an okay package, right? It's got that Japanese movement. It's not the most fantastic movement, but it is a reliable Japanese movement. It is actually well finished, and once again, the case finishing and quality is pretty darn good from Spinnaker. It's got sapphire crystal, right? So it's got some of those overall features, but for $400, probably the value proposition is not the most compelling. With 20% discount or 25% discount codes, I think it gets a lot better, right? And of course, you know, what have I enjoyed particularly else is this, the metal bracelet. First Spinnaker ever, definitely in my possession to have a steel bracelet, and I really like that they've stepped up to put this on their watches now. I really look forward to more of this from Spinnaker. Maybe they heard my my complaints or my calls for metal bracelet, and I'm really happy that they've gone out to do this now. Weaknesses? Well, look, overall, I think the design elements are a little bit derivative. They're not exactly the most inspired, right? You've seen all these elements in other watches. right? They're okay, and I like that overall the combination is probably quite original. It's not exactly copying any particular famous model, but you know, none of it actually stands out as a bit of a wow factor. And then lastly, I'll say that Cyclops, right? I'll just show you the date again. You can see there, the 15. It's not the most visible thing to read, you know. I don't know what it is about this Cyclops. There's a bit too much reflectivity. You know, anything to the side, you just can't read it. You got to see it dead on, and even then, I have struggled to kind of read the date. So a little bit of a weakness there in this particular execution here. So guys, there we have it, the Spinnaker Croft new extension, SP-5058. Let me know what you think about this model. You know, if you have any Spinnakers, of course, I'd like to hear your thoughts. And this particular model, new one with metal bracelet, let me know what you think. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. I put out new content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys next time.